Our next guest has played in the NFL, founded a coffee line, worked as an investment manager, and now is a CEO.
A little bit of it all. Winston Justice is truly a man that knows how to reinvent himself successfully. Now he's here to talk about career pivots and what we need to know before we make that leap. Welcome in.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are too nice.
We love having you. You're great to talk to. You have quite the storied career. Please walk us through your journey from the NFL to where you are today.
Well, it was a long journey. I mean, I'm originally from California, born and raised. I didn't want to leave California, so I went to USC. But then I couldn't stay there because I was drafted to the Eagles. And when I was with the Eagles, I realized that football wasn't really for long, and I wanted to hit the ground running, right? I wanted to be as successful after my football career than like during. And so I realized when I was at USC, I majored in public policy. That was a major to stay eligible to play football. I needed to take my life after football seriously, and so I actually asked Andy Reid to let me go back to school when I was playing.
Wow.
So I prepared for my second career during my first one.
That's impressive.
Well, I love that you knew ahead of time, before you got out of the NFL, hey, I got to put these building blocks in place. And you have all these professional tips. One of the first tips you say is understand why change is good. Explain.
Change is good because change makes you feel uncomfortable, right? I think a lot of times when you feel comfortable, you want to stay in the place that you are, right? I always want to be a person that wanted to grow and expand my knowledge, and I want my family to be thriving and flourishing. You always need to be in a position where you're always uncomfortable to a point, but you're always growing. Something that's really comfortable is staying in bed until 10, right?
Yes.
And eating pizza every day. That's so comfortable, right?
Yeah.
But that's not really what you really want, right? You actually want to be in shape. I want to hold my grandkids when I'm 70. I'm not going to get there if I sleep until 10 and I eat pizza. So I want to walk through being uncomfortable. I want to walk through working out in the morning. I want to walk through changing, so I know and I get to my ultimate goal.
Which I think that was your second tip, was to get uncomfortable. There we have all the tips, if we could pull those up again and take a look at them. And you just touched on it, getting uncomfortable. But I have to ask, what was the most uncomfortable thing you did to get to where you are? Is there an answer to that?
Well, I mean, football is a sport of being uncomfortable, right? It's not natural. It's not natural for you to get up and actually hit another human being at full leg speed, right? So that was uncomfortable, but I knew that football was a stepping stone to do something even, greater. Going back to school, getting a master's when I was actually playing, that was uncomfortable, right? Because it was tough. Because at the time I was married, I had my first son, right? It's hard lugging everyone back to school. But I knew that going through that valley of being uncomfortable would ultimately lead to something greater.
That's so true.
So I was willing to make that trade-off.
It's so true. These lessons are something that every single person, you at home, we're talking to you, doesn't matter what career you're in. The final tip, I felt this one, it says lose early and be nimble.
Yeah, lose early and be nimble. I think you can learn so much in the losses, right? Pete Carroll was my coach at USC, and he always said, hey, there's no mistakes, only opportunities to improve. Right now there are mistakes where you do lose, but what he was saying is that you need to use every opportunity to get better. The losses are ways that we can improve, but also the wins too, right? Yeah. If you win, if you do something really great, there's always an opportunity to get better, because we're in a really competitive space. Football was extremely competitive, and actually what I'm doing now in finance is extremely competitive too. So even when you do win, you need to find ways to improve.
Very
good advice, and congrats on your next chapter.
Yes.
Yeah,
your new chapter.
Thank you, Winston.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you guys have questions about Sage Spring Wealth Partners and how to invest in your future, talk to an advisor at sagespring.com.